Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, my name is Muhammad Nur Hafiza bin Nurdin. I am the first presenter for this video. So this is our group members for group 6. So in this video, we will talk about the introduction for climate change, how climate change happen in nowadays, the pros cons of climate change, the existing effort of climate change, and also the conclusion, the overall conclusion for our research in this video. Based on our research, according to the United Nations, the climate change refers to the long-term shifts in temperatures and also the weather patterns. Although shifts in weather can be a natural occurrence, there is a steady increase in the climate change since the 1800 driven by human activities, primarily in power generating and transportation sector. As an example, the burning of fossil fuels such as coal in power plants and petrol for cars has led to increase in the greenhouse gases trapped in Earth's atmosphere.
Okay, in this slide I'm going to explain how climate change happens. Okay, we start with greenhouse gases. Imagine a building with glass walls and also glass roof. Okay, during the day the sunlight will pass through the walls and keep the heat inside so that it can warm the plants during the night and also during the winter. It's like our earth is like the plants, so the greenhouse is like our atmosphere. In our atmosphere we have gases, that's why we call greenhouse gases. In our atmosphere we have gases like carbon dioxide, water vapor, and methane, and also other gases. So our earth needs a balance of greenhouse gases to maintain just the right temperature for our living things. So this is a natural system that maintain the temperature in our earth so that we are not too hot and too cold, so that living things can live. So what can cause the climate change? So it's because of some energy that added to the system. So heat is energy. When heat is applied to the system are going to have a climate change. So what caused the temperature to increase? The temperature increased because of the human activities. Why human activities? Because burning coals, fossil fuel and gas produce carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide, and because of producing extra gases to our atmosphere, our greenhouse gases are not balanced and the temperature are getting increasing and cause global warming in the future. So it's like deforestation, like cutting down the trees. So that means our carbon dioxides are no longer be absorbed by the trees, and carbon dioxide also that stored in the trees is also released to the atmosphere that can cause unstable gases in the atmosphere that can cause global warming. So global warming is the long-term heating of Earth's climate system, and it was observed since the pre-industrial period between 1850 and 1900 due to human activities. So in this research, they conclude that presently increasing at a rate, the global warming presently increasing at a rate of 0.2 degrees Celsius per decade. This is a big difference per decade, 0.2 degrees Celsius. It might not happen in 100 years after this, but what if for our future, our children, they will suffer because of this global warming. Indeed, if the human activities are not be controlled, so that the rate of increasing per decade will also increase. It's not just 0.2 degrees Celsius, might be 0.5 degrees Celsius per decade.
Seterusnya, kita nak melihat pula kepada bagaimana pelepasan gas-gas rumah hijau ini menyebabkan pemanasan global. Kita dapat lihat melalui rajah yang diperolehi daripada WLDNPS di sebelah ini. Diagram beside show a simple illustration on how greenhouse effect can cause climate change. Greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide, nitrous oxide and methane accumulated in the atmosphere and act like a glass house. Seperti yang rajah, kita dapat tengok gas-gas yang dilepaskan ini akan terperangkap di dalam lapisan atmosfer bumi dan akan menyebabkan glass house effect, iaitu kesan rumah kaca, di mana some solar radiation from the sun will be absorbed by the earth surface, but some will be radiated back to the space. But because of the glass house effect, the solar radiation is reflected back to earth's surface and causing global warming.
Hi, my name is Haris Fahmi Bakri, and I will be talking about pros and cons of climate change. We all know that climate change is popular with its disadvantages. So I will be talking about first the disadvantages of climate change. Through climate change, the sea level will rise, and this cause flooding in lower area, and it will be damage the infrastructure of lower area by having flood. So next, it also encourage also acidification. It's become more acidic and might interrupt the aquatic animals or plant in the sea. It also decrease human access to the water supply because the water level is rising, and it might decrease the potential of working in water industry for workers. By having flood also, it can create new dangerous infectious disease that might spread to the citizen that involved in flood. Next, I will be talking about the pros or advantage. Even though we know it might cause more trouble, but it also provide advantages, such as when the temperature increase, the ice or cool area that people live in might might decrease the temperature, and when the winter came, it might not be as cold as today or yesterday, last year or before that. So the winter case death might be decreased. Also, it will open more shipping route as ice or iceberg that is large in size might melt.
Assalamualaikum and hi. My name is Ahmad Najmi bin Ahmad Hafiz. So for the existing effort to fix the climate change globally, so firstly is by promoting clean energy technologies. So as we know that the Tesla, which is the vehicle company, had used cleaner technologies, which is they use the electrical engine, so that the emission of the carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide from the engine that used by petrol and diesel engine can be eliminated or reduced. So secondly is by promoting the low carbon energy. So as we know that the latest Euro 6 standards, emission standards, had emphasized specifically for the vehicle manufacturers to meet the standards made to meet the standards, the Euro 6 emission standards, which is the vehicle manufacturers that still use the petrol and diesel engine. The manufacturers had to reduce the emissions of carbon monoxide, the carbon dioxide, and also the nitrogen oxide that emitted from the engine, so that the vehicle is environmental friendly, more environmental friendly. So the next is advancing energy efficiency, and last but not least is reducing emissions from deforestation and forest degradation. So as for conclusion, people need to aware of this phenomenon happening right now, be it the greenhouse effect, the global warming, the thinning layer of ozone layer, and also deforestation or forest degradation. Secondly is the things that happen affect all the living things on earth, not just on human, but also the plants, the flora, and also the animals, the fauna. And next is understanding the reasons of climate change is important. So the fourth conclusion is that we can make effort in order to avoid disasters. So there's so many things that we can do in order to help our earth alive again. And last but not least is even though that the climate change nowadays, there are some pros, there are some advantage in it, but there are also the bad side or the disadvantages that are more dangerous they are more dangerous to us, the human, the plants, the flora, and also the fauna. So in the nutshell, the climate change will bring more disadvantages or the bad effect for us, especially for human. So I think that's all from us. Thank you.